Hey everybody, so welcome back. So for today's project, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to actually be doing a little bit of plumbing today. So what we're looking at is, this is a Kohler Fairfax lavatory faucet, 8-inch spread. I installed this faucet about 12 years ago when I bought the house and I did the remodel on the bathroom. And what's going on is, over the course of about 2 months, I've noticed a small leak on the hot side. And if you look, you can see some water down here. So I contacted Kohler, and this is why you buy good products, because Kohler has a lifetime warranty on all parts. So Kohler was nice enough to send me some replacement parts to take care of the issue. And essentially what we're looking at the hot side, the cold side, 2 new escutcheon plates, and essentially everything you need to take care of it. So what it is, and we'll get into it when we take it apart. But what it is, the faucet is a cartridge style, and the cartridge is starting to leak a little bit. So let's get to it. I'll show you what you need to do to repair the faucet, and go from there. All right. So the first thing you want to do when working on any plumbing project, you want to turn the supplies off to the valves. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the water off. We're underneath the sink, and on mine there's two gate valves, and what we're going to do is just going to turn the water off on both sides. Even though it's only working on the hot, we're going to turn them off on both. So these are just simple quarter turn disconnects. Actually, they're not gate valves or ball valves. I remember when I put these in, so it's just a quarter turn to turn them off. So now that the water's off, let's go ahead and get up on the sink and start taking everything apart. Okay, so now that the water is shut off, you always want to confirm that your valves are actually holding the water back. Turn on the hot, turn on the cold, and we have no water, so we know we're good. And whenever you're working on a sink, you always run the risk of losing small parts. So always pull the valve stopper to seal that off. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the hot side apart and go from there. So let's do this now. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is you want to remove the little plastic cap, and you just use a little pick to take the cap off, and then the handle is just held on there by a screw, so we're going to take that off. Okay. This is why you always want to have the drain valve closed. So in case that screw doesn't come out of your hands, it doesn't go down the drain. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop that off. So now that the handle is off. Right, so as you can see all the water pulling in there. You get a better idea what's going on. So the next thing we want to do is we want to take the escutcheon plate off. And what we're going to use is, I'm just going to use a set of channel locks. These are a set of Knipex Cobras. And what I've done is I've just wrapped the jaws with some painter's tape so I don't scratch the escutcheon plate. So why don't we go ahead and do that now. Alright, so now with the escutcheon plate removed, what you're going to do now is basically this cartridge this whole cartridge needs to be replaced. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it go, and that's going to fall through the hole in the countertop. And what we have to do is we're going to end up removing the whole assembly. We're going to remove it from the supply line, and then we're going to remove it from the outlet line that goes to the faucet itself. So why don't we go ahead and do that now? All right, so we've removed the old cartridge assembly from the vanity. So what you have to do is, and it is necessary, if you do go along this route where Kohler is going to send you the parts, this is necessary. Because what Kohler does is they send you a retrofit kit, and the reason why you have to remove the old cartridge and put in the new one is because of the supply line end that goes, out of the cartridge body. So this is the old one right here. We'll get in there real close. So if you look, The old one is the threads are on top with the O-ring down the bottom, and the new one is the threads are down the bottom with the O-ring on the top. So if you try to put this into the new assembly, it won't work, and vice versa. So you really need to remove the assembly completely out. So we've done that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the reassembly process and everything else. So, and here's a little trick. If you're ever working on a sink and you gotta lay on your back to get in there, just take a pillow and put it on the sink base so you're not wrenching your shoulders along that hard edge. All right, so why don't we go ahead and start the reassembly of the cartridge and get it back in there. All right, so the new supply line has been fitted into the valve body or the cartridge body, whatever you want to call it. And I've been reviewing the instructions from Kohler because the mounting instructions on this has changed, and I don't think I'm going to like this design because it seems like it's going to be a lot of headache to get this thing adjusted properly. So just for example, there's the old valve body, and then basically there is a large flat washer and a large nut, and basically you just adjusted it and put it on there and got your height. So with the new one, essentially that nut has been removed. So now there's a locking collar and 2 adjustment screws that you have to play with when you're below the sink, and then put your escutcheon plate on it and everything else. Because what it is, on this escutcheon plate, you only have so many threads, and then it bottoms out against that seat, which is right here. So really there's a limited amount of adjustment that you can do to play around with it. So, and then I guess you tighten it, and then you drive these screws to lock the washer underneath the sink base and everything else. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna go put it in there and start playing around with it, and we'll go from there. All right, so here's the final assembly with everything put back together. So again, what you want to do is, before you get underneath the sink, you want to kind of play around with your height and everything else. So what you do is you mount the cartridge assembly through the sink, put the washer on, and then put that adjustment ring on, and then you set your final height using those screws, and once you tighten it up, it locks the whole assembly underneath the sink. So there you go. So why don't we get out of the sink and get up back on top, and then we can show you the final completed project. All right, so we're back on top, and everything's back together. So why don't we go ahead and test everything out. All right, so there you go. It's pretty straightforward. So just something to be aware of, if you are in this situation and you don't feel like calling Kohler, or you feel like just going to Home Depot or Lowe's or some other parts warehouse, just be aware there is a separate cartridge for the hot and for the cold. And the reason why is because they're related on how the valves open. The hot side opens up counterclockwise, right? And the cold opens clockwise, right? So they are not interchangeable, they are unique to each side. So there's something to be aware of when you go ahead and source your parts. But go ahead, and if you do have a Kohler faucet, I'm going to put the number in for Kohler customer support. Give them a call. All the parts that you saw, they were shipped free to my house with no charge, and they are here within 2 or 3 days. Kohler also sent me the cold wire side as well. I'm not going to put it in at this point. I'm not having any issues with it. I'm going to save it for now. If at some point in time it starts to leak, I'll put it in. One thing they also sent me was a new escutcheon plate for the faucet, and they are actually a smaller diameter than the original ones. I don't have an issue with the escutcheon plates. They're still in good shape, and you know what? The current escutcheon plates are the same diameter as the existing handle, so it kind of looks better. I think if you put a smaller one in there, it would look kind of odd. So I opted not to use them, but I'll hold on to them for the time being. So there you go. If this is pretty much all you need to do to replace a leaky cartridge in your Kohler faucet. If you liked the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you like what you saw, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you a subscriber. If there's any thoughts, questions, concerns, anything like that, go ahead and leave them in the comments box and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day. See ya.